You know, I haven't been podcasting as of late because it's Bill's off season, sure, but also I've had a lot of stuff going on in life. But it's 4th of July. America is now uh, 250 years old. Crazy to think. But I got 12 gauge, most patriotic guy there is. You know what I'm saying? So 12. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Well, happy 4th to you and happy 4th to everyone who is watching right now. Happy 4th. Hope you're doing good and hope you're having a good day.
You know, every day that we get is a blessing. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. And the truth is here is that, um, you know, there's a lot of things that are going on in life. There's a lot of crazy topics in sports and news and entertainment that I think Gage is really curious to see what my take is on it. Um, but there's also a lesson that I'm also going to be pushing out there for people today. Whether you're up, down, feeling defeated, or feeling like you're winning, be thankful for today, because if you got today, you're already winning the game. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to call the game of life something, it's about, in my opinion, making the best of the time that you have on this earth, in this life, because you never know when your day is going to come. And no day is guaranteed. So it's Freedom Day here. It's 4th of July. First and foremost, Gage, were you always like? Did you love watching fireworks? Did you ever do fireworks as a kid? Did you ever like light some fireworks?
Lightning? No, I have never lit any fireworks, but my neighbor across the street, he always did. He always did something for the 4th of July. So back in the day, me and my family always went over there to celebrate the 4th and drink beers and celebrate. How about you?
I think for me, dude, I was like afraid of big noises as a kid. Except for NASCAR, fighter jets, and dirt bikes. But also, I was like a little bit of afraid of fire. Like I was afraid to use a lighter. I'm like, I'm scared I'm gonna burn myself. I didn't know how to properly use a lighter. You know what I'm saying? Matches, no way. But it's like the first time you light a bottle rocket or a firecracker and you do so successfully, it's like, wow, it's a cool feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's like you unlock
Holy
something by
shit! Yeah.
fear. So, me personally, what I like when it comes to the game of fireworks is this: when you're watching some fireworks and you're seeing, it's like, oh, it's the grand finale, and then it's like 2 minutes later they're back on again. It's like, so that wasn't the grand finale. So that's when you know it's like it's lit, right? Personally, for me, Gage, I think the best part about 4th of July is when we got to being teenagers. You're in summertime with your friends. Um, you're just trying to enjoy those summer nights. 4th of July, in my opinion, is one of the better parts about summertime. You got Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July, and Labor Day weekend. And 4th of July is like the halfway point of the summer. But it's always been a big deal in Western New York. But I always just loved having the cookouts with family, and I associated that as a kid with seeing family that I didn't always get to see. Um, Now, personally, I like to give a little history on what the 4th of July actually is, because some people don't know. People aren't up to date with their history, and it's okay. You don't need to be. But on this day, 1776, the founding fathers of this country, guys like George Washington, Ben Franklin was a part of this. You got John Hancock. You got good old John Adams, probably Sam Adams. He's probably drunk on his own beer. You also got Thomas Jefferson, and these guys decide, you know what, dude? I'm like week to week on my paycheck as is. That I got to tell you, I don't want to pay this tea tax anymore. This is ridiculous. I don't even drink tea. Why am I paying taxes on this shit for fucking the, his uh his his uh his Majesty over there in Great Britain? So they decided to write up a letter saying no more. We're free. And it's like, what do you think happened when Great Britain received that letter? Do you think that they thought it's like when somebody blocks you and it's like, um, excuse me, you have the nerve? But what a move, right? Because if you don't know, in history, there's always been a country or a group or empire, you want to call it, that would be at the top of the world. So before it was Great Britain, you had, Spain and France, they're competing. But you also had everything going on over there in medieval times in Europe. Okay, cool. But before that, we had the Roman Empire. Before that, we had the Greeks. Before that, we had Egypt. Like, dude, it's just always been somebody there. So for us to say to Great Britain, we don't like give me liberty or give me death was a ballsy move. I tell people this all the time. If I could go back in history and just sit down in that like tavern where they came up with this idea, I would love to have been there. I want to know how many beers deep they were. Did they smoke hemp? And just what was running through their minds? Because I'm sorry, you're waging war on Great Britain, who already has boots on the ground in your country. Okay, and mind you, you don't have a well trained military. You don't have the supplies. You're poor. You got a guy, George Washington, who was taller than everybody else, that decides to lead the way. And it wasn't easy for him at first, Gage. But dude, we fought so hard that we are able to do what we are doing right now independently and without repercussion. You go to a different country, like I can't say for sure because I've never been there, but North Korea, you have censorship there. You don't have the same types of freedoms. And I'm not bashing any countries. I'm just saying for anybody that wants to hate on America today, be thankful for the right that you have to be able to do so. Um, if I were you, anybody out there, I'd like to create a ripple effect of some kindness. Go wish a veteran, a great day. Go tell somebody happy 4th of July and you hope they have a great day and enjoy their freedom. And just go out there and be the gatekeeper of freedom. Do you remember, Gage, 2021, I went to go work at my dad's bar as a parking attendant. And mind you, my dad didn't tell me to charge anybody, but I very easily could have charged a buck, $5, hell, 10, $20 if I wanted to for people to park where they were. And everybody kept saying how much. And I just kept saying, no, you're good. Somebody referred to me as the gatekeeper of freedom. And they then would go on to buy me a 12 pack of Budweiser. They asked me what beer I wanted. They brought me a 12 pack of cold Budweiser. And that day it was like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Just to be a part of the freedom aspect. And who needs to pay for parking? And granted, money, sure, but is money really worth the price of just doing something cool where people don't got to worry about parking? I had everybody managed real well where they were their spaces. I wasn't getting buzzed up or nothing. I waited till after did my job. But freedom, Gage, is something that we can't take for granted in this life, dude. So that's a little background on our country's history. Now, fast forward to today. We're live on cell phones. Back then, they had candlelight. Um, they weren't even paying national grid bills yet because that wasn't even a thing. But Gage, uh, you have some topics you want to ask me about. Some to give a wholesome take, perhaps. Some to give a saucy take. I know you're having some beers. You got your party shirt on, and
I have my party shirt on.
lay it
Yes,
on me.
sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to the people, and this is you're the host of this show now, and I'll put the sunglasses on for you.
All right, I'll wait for you for that.
I apologize if my sound's not great. I got the air conditioning running. You have to have it running here in Western Europe. It don't matter.
Speaking about life and how short it is, Diego Jota died yesterday with his brother in a car crash.
Oh, with his brother too.
Speak about that.
Now we're talking. You said Portugal is a defender or midfield.
midfield attacker.
Now he's 28
He was 28.
with his
His
brother.
brother was 26.
And it's crazy because think back to that whole Johnny Gaudreau thing. How old was he when him and his brother passed?
29?
Crazy that the similarity in age, and we're talking um, people that were well liked. Now, listen, I don't know anything about the guy. I don't know if he used his platform in a great way. I know that he was liked by fans. There was a ton of support being poured out for him because of how deeply this affected, fans, support, people that knew him worldwide, right? And soccer's worldwide. I can't call it football, but it's worldwide. But it just shows you, wow, you're 28. You're not even in the 30s yet. Like you're not even technically you're touching your prime of your athletic career. And you're talking something that's so promising that a guy worked his whole life towards, in a sense, to become a professional soccer player. And boom, car accident. Now, here's the thing. I don't know nothing about the accident, but I don't need to. I don't need to look into that. But all I know is it's stuff like that where you don't know when your day's going to come. So if today was going to be your day, would you want to go out feeling like you didn't accomplish anything, or you want to feel like you just left too much behind? No, I think Gage, in a sense, death is terrifying. Yeah, because it's a in a sense one of the only one of the certain truths that we know in life, and taxes apparently. But you never know when your day's gonna come. So look at that. You see somebody with such promise, money, this and that. People would probably glamorize that guy's life. But boom, gone in the a blink of an eye. And here's the thing: I want to know if I were able to ask him wherever he is now, if he's in heaven, whatever. If I asked him, "Is it okay? Are you okay with the fact that you passed and that your time had come? Do you feel like you did enough?" And that's where I would wonder how many people would answer yes, how many people would say no, how many people would say I want to go back and do it differently. You don't know when your days come, so if you have time, and when I say time, I'm right here live with you on YouTube Live. There's days, man, I didn't know what was going to become of my tomorrow, but I'm here today. So if I have time remaining, can I ever actually lose? No. The only time you ever lose in anything in life, not just games, but in life, it's just when you ran out of time. You never lost, you just ran out of time. So you don't want to run out of time. You want to make the best of everything today. Call a loved one, leave things on a better note with somebody. You feel like you want to push yourself towards something, do it today. Do one little thing today. And you know why? Because if tomorrow doesn't come, wouldn't you want to be okay with it? In a sense, man, some people would be, hey, I get to leave this hellhole of suffering behind. You leave behind some loved ones, sure, but you feel like you did everything you possibly could with the time that you had and that you at least tried. And so today, bro, I'm trying to have that mentality. Been down, defeated at times, but I'm alive today, and therefore I'm not losing. Nothing's permanent. So, Gage, let me ask you this: uh, we've got the BMW International Open going on. What is it lately with when I'm watching these like non-major tournaments? Who's D Brown? Who's Katsuragawa Smith? Is that Yasiel Puig? Penge? I don't know these guys. What's going on?
That's not even the PGA. That's not even in the PGA Tour.
I had a funny feeling because I know Sergio Garcia's on that live shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like either I was gonna watch that, Rocky Five, or I was gonna watch tennis, and I can't really do the tennis thing. It's just a little too difficult. But
Go with Rocky Five. Of course.
that's the one where he fights Tommy Gunn, and it's just a little too like you gotta know. It's like Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Okay, it's got some glory to it, but why did Tommy Gunn have to fucking do him like that? Why did Tommy Gunn have to betray him like that? Like Rocky low key made this dude his son, and and his own son wanted to be his son, and like he was messing up. But Tommy Gunn got basically that dude George Jefferson something, George Washington Jefferson or something,
George Jefferson.
and he
George.
basically, it's like Don King in real life. You know, the people say that that dude fucking brought Mike Tyson down and made him come down from his level of humility and the things that he had going on. But it's greed right there. So, what is your all-time favorite sports movie, Gage?
All-time favorite sports movie. Hmm. I got to go with Caddyshack.
See, that's even greater that you classify that as a sports movie, because to me, that's a comedy that features sport. But I love that because, dude, like, he's so random. He's got Rodney Dangerfield out there one day. The dude's hooking up with this chick one day. He's over with this chick. He got Chevy Chase out there just going no, 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 or whatever. And so, what is the best part about Caddyshack then?
The last putt with the whole course blowing up with the what are those little animals?
I think it's incredible that there's so many different
Gophers.
individual battles throughout that entire movie. Um, when you got Bill Murray out there, just like wait a second, what's he doing? Then you got the dude golfing in the lightning storm, and the round of his life, he has one bad shot, and boom, he gets sent to the
Boom.
fucking gulag. I mean, my favorite sports movies will go like in this. I'd say like this. Um, First off, I love the story of Miracle. I mean, that's possibly the greatest sports story ever told. Um,
Oh, good pick.
Talladega Nights, and the
Of
rookie.
course, you would go that.
I really like the rookie. Yeah, longest yard.
I
Both are.
like it.
All right. Here's another one. Sports movies. You have to put Space Jam in there because it's like, come on, do 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 do. Do. Um, Major League.
Ooh, good pick.
That's actually really that's all time right there. That's one of the better ones. So I've heard some funny stories about that. Apparently, Wesley Snipes could not catch a ball to save his life. He was not very good at base running, and they had to do a lot of like separate like shots and takes. Um, I guess a lot of the guys actually did do some of the baseball stuff in that film, but I love that you got Tom Berenger obviously on his last leg, but he's a solid teammate. He fucking goes and threatens the one dude if he uh, messes something up again. You got Charlie Sheen, who's just like he just got out of fucking doing 20 years, and he's got a fastball faster than Nolan Ryan's. But the best part is he's got no control. Turns out he has just had bad eyesight. It's like okay, and then the way that they win, he points to the outfield, but like he bunts, and he had to try to go get the girl and shit. You know what I mean? And it just you gotta love the manager. Um, the voodoo guy. Man, that's a good fucking movie. That's a very good movie.
Mm.
Very good movie. But The Rookie is one of my favorites because that's one of like the first ones I really got into because I played baseball as a kid and you hear a story about a guy just throwing heat like that and basically everybody's pushing him to try and make it to the majors and one day he does. And it's just like you got all the way to the majors to have to play for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Oh
How
my!
about this one? How about The Blind Side? What do you think about The Blind Side?
It's a little tainted now that you got things with the whole family and Michael, all the stuff that came out as a result. You got Michael Orr could be bullshitting. It could have been the family. You never know. But it was still a good movie. But then you find out a lot of it was like, dramatized in a sense. Um, you got to also throw and Remember the Titans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How could you forget that?
Friday Night Lights, the TV show, though. Yep. Moneyball.
Wow.
Um,
You forget how many great sports TV shows and movies there are.
oh yeah, dude. It's off the chain when you think about how many really are out there. I mean, you've got the Mighty Ducks. I mean, shit.
Oh my god.
You got tons of things. I mean, let's go back to older days too. Like, what do they have? Oh, let's go to some funny ones. What's it called?
Slapshot.
Not Tropic Thunder. Uh,
Tropic Thunder.
you know what I'm talking about with Will Ferrell,
Uh
Jackie Moon. He's a basketball player.
I'm blanking.
He
I'm
plays for the
blanking.
Flint Tropics, I think. I can't remember what the hell it's called. You got to throw Happy Gilmore in there. Um,
Of course.
Radio's a sad one.
Oh, radio.
Yeah, hey, we're not even
Such.
talking about the greatest kick returner in college football history. I mean, Forrest Gump, dude. We got just a little insight to his career.
Yeah.
You got
Of
Varsity
course.
Blues on
Gotta
left.
throw Forrest Gump in there. Of course. Of course.
You ever seen what's it called? Any Given Sunday. I've never seen that though. Oh, time the fuck out. Pause it. I gotta tell you right now, one of my all-time favorites, top three for me, The Replacements.
Oh, how could you forget about that
Yeah,
one
dude, I
too?
legit would watch
Jeez.
that movie on the weekends in my dad's, and I would walk around with a football, like practicing, like recovering fumbles and shit. You got Shane Falco, rest in peace to Gene Hackman. You got John Favreau in there, and he's also like playing a badass cop. You got fucking what's his name? The one dude that was in Double Take 3000, and he's got the speed like crazy, but he can't catch nothing, so he's got to put glue on his hands. Then you got the guy that's deaf and he's tight end, and that's actually Pam's fiance from The Office.
John Krasinski or no? The other guy.
The Wait, which one?
John Krasinski.
No, 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 no. The other guy, Roy. Roy.
Roy.
Yeah, remember he's deaf. They got the whole scene
Oh
where
yeah.
they're doing the dance in the jail. I love that. But how about let's talk about? I feel like boxing movies are its own category. You got all the Rocky movies. You got all the Rocky movies.
I knew you were gonna go there.
I'm live on YouTube right now, honey. With Gage is oh, okay. Um, you've got movies like Creed. You got movies like uh, Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal.
What other boxing movies are there other than Rocky and Southpaw and the
Oh,
subsequent creeds?
Cinderella Man.
Mm,
That's an all-time great one. Also, The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg. In fact, that's one of my favorites, dude. If you don't come out of a boxing movie like you watched it in theater, if you don't come out of there, shadow boxing, I don't think you're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? So you got that. Oh, you could say $1 Million Baby, although I'm not a big fan. It's like, why do we have to do all that just to die? Um, you got The Contender, Raging Bull. They probably got a movie about Ali. I think I've just never seen it. You got technically the Hangover. It's got a little bit of boxing.
No, don't throw the Hangover in there. Even though it's got Mike Tyson in it, it's not a boxing movie.
So I know that's me being funny in a sense. So okay, can I think of any other ones?
Creed?
Creed's good. I like Creed. What's your favorite of the Rocky films? Which one's your favorite?
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I've never watched
Okay,
any of the Rockies.
I'll just give you a quick rundown. Rocky one, Rocky Balboa, aka young Sylvester Stallone. I think we're talking like 1976. Ironically, the bicentennial of this country. And he fights Apollo Creed because basically they're trying to make this fight into something cooler than it was. Like you're gonna fight an Italian in Philadelphia in his own home turf. But low key, Rocky goes the distance, and people thought he won that fight. Apollo got pissed, and at the end of that fight, he said there ain't gonna be no round two. And Rocky says back, I don't want it. But then Apollo goes back on that because he got embarrassed. So Rocky 2, they fight again, and this time he beats him. Rocky 3, basically he loses his balls. He fights Clubber Lang, who's Mr. T, uh, and loses his balls. His trainer Mickey gets killed. So Apollo Creed decides he's going to try to help him, get his balls back and help him train. So he starts to, become friends with him and everything. Rocky 4, you got the guy in the Soviet Union, Dragovich. Okay, we're talking like 7'5", 300 pounds, just pure muscle apparently. And Apollo's gonna fight him in an exhibition because we got the whole Cold War thing going on at that time. But he kills Apollo Creed in the ring, and he says if he dies, he dies. So Rocky's then going to go train, I think, in the Soviet Union. He goes and trains over there, and he's doing insane workouts. Comes back, fights him, avenges him. The best part is that Drago said that he goes, he's not human. It's like I'm hitting a piece of iron, and that's just crazy to think. He also fought. Was it in 3? I think it's in 3. In 3, he fought Hulk Hogan as an exhibition thing too, and Hulk Hogan was supposed to be huge, and he legit picked him up because Hulk Hogan went nuts. Rocky 5 is he's retired, and this guy Tommy Gunn, who's actually a fighter in real life, and he died at a young age. He wants Rocky to train him. He's from Philadelphia, and Rocky gives him a chance. But Rocky won't get him that title fight because he's not trying to put him into the wrong path. Some guys think that they deserve title fights, but it's like you're not ready yet. And if you do it in a certain way, you're gonna look like it's a bought title. That's kind of what they do in Rocky 5. I can't go on beyond that, but I can tell you the Creed movies were really good because you got Michael B. Jordan. You've also got, it shows Rocky is such a humble dude, basically, that he's running through the city of Philadelphia in his shitty ass joggers and sweatshirt and basically, hitting fucking actual bodies of like frozen meat to train. He's got nothing. And, he meets, he's got the love of his life. He's got his buddy, Paulie, who's a drunk. But it's just crazy to think that it shows the life of a fighter, man. Like, you get that money, and they don't typically do well unless they have somebody that guides them on how to manage their finances, and they don't have some promoter doing all their shit for them. That's what I'll say about Floyd Mayweather. Does all his own stuff. He's not paying a percentage to some other promoter to go out there and do it for him, whether you like him or not. You know. I met Floyd Mayweather once.
No, you did not.
I did. When I lived in Las Vegas, I worked at the pizza place right around the corner from my dad's house. My first job as I waited to get in the union, part-time job. Um, and he was cool. He'd come in there all the time. But then we had this one new girl, whatever. She said to him, "Oh, geez, you're a lot smaller than I thought." Yeah, and I never saw him after that. So it's like you don't strain him. I get it. He's like 5'5", but like it's also like yeah, you're not talking about fighters aren't supposed to be gigantic. It's not like it used to be where heavyweight was the way to go. Okay, heavyweight fighters were something back in them days. Now you
I
got all
thought he was at least 6'2".
Floyd.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I mean, like he's about your size, if that. But I mean, he's got faster hands than you and I combined. So, uh, I also this guy's name is Derek, and he actually fought Roy Jones Jr. in Germany. I sparred with him and trained with him a little bit in Vegas. I took some training lessons from a guy that used to do HBO boxing things. He was a trainer on there, and the guy that owned the gym was Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s sparring partner. So it's crazy what like I never really wanted to become a boxer or anything, but it's great workout and it's great for teaching yourself mental discipline. So I we talked about boxing movies. Well, holy cow, we haven't even talked about the fact that there's another form of fighting, martial arts movies. And you can talk Karate Kid, you can talk anything
Uh,
you can.
I
Bruce
think that's the only thing you can mention there. Karate Kid.
oh no. Because you gotta remember that Steven Seagal was low key doing martial arts and all his shit with that ponytail. So you gotta start with that. And Bruce Lee movies, bro. And Enter the Dragon.
Lee. Bruce
Those
Lee.
movies are strange though because it's like I feel like are they actually like Asian actors and like they're like bleeping out like they're like actual Asian language and they have somebody mouthing the Chinese stuff. And there was a guy in these films, Jim Kelly, not the Bills quarterback, but Jim Kelly. There's some good martial arts films.
Jim Kelly.
I wish they had
Oh my.
highlight tapes of when I had my Taekwondo tournaments. Uh, See, Tommy Gunn, you got too cocky, man. You literally look at you think because you got a nice fur coat and you got a title fight and you got the basically the escort that the promoter's paying for to pretend to be your girlfriend. That's when you realize where you gotta remember where you come from, man. Rocky wasn't not giving this dude a title fight because he was trying to stop him or he didn't want him to achieve anything. No, he was trying to protect him the way that he wishes he had been.
All right, moving on from boxing and martial arts. Um, hmm, hmm, hmm. Greatest soccer movies.
Airbud, I can get down with that.
The Big Green.
Why can't I think? You got bend it like Beckham.
Bandit. Yep. There's not many, but there's a few great ones.
Tell me one of the best ones.
The Big Green. I
Never,
used to watch that all the time when
I've
I
never even
was.
heard of it. Never heard of it.
You need to watch it.
What about I never seen it, but the movie Invictus, the rugby team of South Africa.
Rugby. Woo! Mm, mm.
Out there, man. Okay, so let's move on from that. Some other topics in the world of sports news, Gage. You know, obviously, the Yankees have lost a couple here in a row, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not because of their offense. I mean, granted, yes, you're Anthony Volpe's like on a fucking very, very, very thin line with me, and that's sad because he's not only did we share the same first name, uh, he's a shortstop, and I was hoping this guy's gonna be half of Jeter in a sense. Thought in the World Series that Grand Slam kind of like would help him tip that point, but dude, he's got a lot of double plays, strikeouts. Like, come on, man. Jason Dominguez is coming alive as late, but like, dude, what is with the Yankees pitching?
The pitching has been like sad for the last few games.
To say the least. Let me ask you this. Alex Rodriguez. Obviously, we know there's issues of PEDs. Does he deserve a place in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium?
I think he does. I think he does. Just going to stop it at that. I think he does.
I think so too, Gage. Here's the thing, dude. Whether you like him or not, he was one of the better players in baseball. Okay, you're talking about a guy that was an MVP superstar player that sacrificed playing shortstop. And I'm sorry, he was a better defender than Jeter was. It's just statistically a correct thing. And he said, "I'll play third base." Never once ever made any sort of controversy that he might want to play shortstop. And Derek Jeter honestly gives him props for that because they had a little bit of a rip. But here's the thing: he owned up to his shit. He helped contribute in 2009. He won multiple MVPs. He's got over 650 home runs, I believe. I almost saw 600 hit in person in Cleveland. And at the end of the day, you got to give it to him, man. That he was willing to do that to come and play for the Yankees and have a chance of winning a world championship. And I just think the way he approaches the game, he's whether or not you like him, whether or not you think they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame and shit like that. Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, all them guys, dude. You could be getting a little bit of an edge with steroids and your strength, but like that's not going to teach you the muscle memory to continue to do things over and over. It's not going to teach you hand-eye coordination. And I'm sorry, but like Barry Bonds didn't need steroids. He was just that scary at the plate. Where like Greg Maddux, probably one of the like top 5, top 10 pitchers of all time, people would say. And like Barry had him in his game. Hitters don't usually control the game. You're trying to like manage through the game and get on base 1 out of 3 times if you're lucky. And hey, crazy to think that we're gonna say steroids is a reason to say that they don't belong in the Hall of Fame. Okay, you can take steroids, but like, is that how many dudes have we seen take roids and not perform well? I mean, Jason Giambi wasn't like that elite of a hitter. I mean, he had some big home run years, but you got to think Red Sox fans always want to fucking throw A-Rod right on the bus, but like acting like David Ortiz and getting some trouble too. Like, come on, dog.
Please.
Ramirez?
Please. Wow.
The hypocrisy. Because, listen, I got nothing but respect for Big Papi because he was a true Red Sox and he was clutch, very good. Broke my heart a bunch of times as a Yankee fan, but I had a lot of respect for him. Same way that Red Sox fans would typically respect Derek Jeter, except for the real biased ones that I can't even have a conversation with, like because they're still trying to get taxes on their fucking team, motherfuckers. Sammy Sosa, dude, Mark McGwire, those guys were fucking big time. But like Barry Bonds, dude, come on, man. You don't get intentionally walk with the bases loaded when your team is up. I think they were up 2 runs. So you walk him and you're now up 1 run with bases loaded. You intentionally walk him because he's that dangerous. That's terrifying.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely freaky.
But you know my problem with baseball players today, Gage?
What's that?
I understand it's frustrating when you hit a ground ball in the infield and it looks like it's going to be a routine out. But I'm sorry, I was taught you run out every single freaking ground ball, pop fly until it is ruled out because you never, dude, you could have Joe Pratt secretly out there at second base and you think he's going to make the routine throw from second to first and the ball doesn't even make it past his ankles. And it's like, now if he had been running the whole time, you might have gotten a second by now. But we thought routine ground ball. Come on, man. You got Joe Pratt out there. You don't know. You might have me. I made errors. Okay. You never know. Dude, I've seen routine pop flies drop. It happens. So what the hell when you don't run out every freaking ground ball and pop fly? Because hey, fundamental baseball is how you win. So let's talk about a guy that always ran everything out. Derek Jeter. I feel like I never really saw him getting lazy on the play. Every single play, same approach. I love that. Um, as a player, I wish I could have gotten to watch more. Ricky Henderson. I never got to really watch him in his prime. Ricky
Oh
Henderson.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
By the way,
Nolan
that's
Ryan.
a great
Hmm.
movie in itself. It's a documentary, but Facing Nolan.
Mm.
Because it details
Mm.
the background of this dude. This dude legit like trained in his 40s like he was like a 20-year-old. And this is a guy that pitched in 4 different decades. This is a guy that would strike out guys that would go on to have sons that would grow up to later on get struck out by him. Most no hitters of all time. Uh, insane amount of one hitters, two hitters. I don't care how many walks he's got. Most strikeouts that will never be touched. How many Cy Youngs does he have, Gage?
Cy Young is Nolan Ryan. Let me look it up.
No. Just take a guess. Take a guess.
Hmm.
I know the answer.
I'm gonna say 0.
Zippity doo dah, zippity a. We're talking about a guy that led the league in strikeouts so many times. He didn't always get great run support. I mean, he played for he played for the Mets, where he won a World Series, but he wasn't Nolan Ryan yet. Then he played for the California Angels. That's when he stepped down on the scene. Then he went to Houston, and then he went to Texas Rangers. And he went to the Texas Rangers because he wanted to be close to his family. I have a lot of respect for that. Guy loves his family, real simple dude. But he was a big dude, man. Apparently scary as hell. And I think one of my favorite Nolan Ryan moments is the Jesse Ventura moment where he charges the mound.
Of course.
And it's just
Who could
like
not
people even
love that?
said that when Jesse Ventura charged the mound, at that moment he wasn't about it. He didn't commit to it, but he had to do it, and it was just a bad. Yeah, Nolan Ryan would proceed to land a lot more strikes in the strike zone, quite a bit that day. So it's insane,
Absolutely.
insane. He had his wife Ruth, and I love that when you hear stories like that. Now let's talk about some crazy sports teams in MLB. You got the '86 Mets. We know about them, the partying and the cigarettes and the drugs and the World Series. The way they came back and won it. And Dwight Gooden being so high on crack he missed the World Series parade. That's beyond me. How about the '05 New York Yankees? Derek Jeter. You've also got Jason Giambi, who had over 30 home runs and like 90 RBIs. You got Gary Sheffield, who had, I think, over 30 home runs and over 100 RBIs. Decky Matsui, over 30 home runs and over 100 RBIs. A-Rod, same thing. You had Robinson Cano. Dude, that was a crazy talented lineup in '05, but they didn't
That
win
was
it.
an insane team.
Now, why do you think they didn't win it at all in those years? Well, because the team wasn't the same as it was when they started the dynasty. In the '90s, um, hold on, it's hilarious, Gage, because do you see a reflection in my eyes that reveals that there's somebody else here in this apartment with me? I'm just curious. Just curious.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, but anyways,
I know what you're talking about.
Here's my thing: the Yankees stopped grooming their farm talent and their prospects, and they kept trying to just bolster up with some hot free agents. And it just basically you didn't have that core of talent anymore. Fuck, after 2000 and 01, you don't got guys like Tino Martinez anymore. And that dude was one of the better Yankees during that time. Paul O'Neill, prime Bernie Williams. You've got uh, El Duque.
El Duque.
Just Andy Pettit. Andy Pettit would go on to a different team at some point.
I forgot how good those teams were
We're
back
talking
in
about
the
4
wow.
world championships in 5 years.
Incredible.
They might have won it in 95. Was it? No, not 95. The year before that, I think it was. Was that the year that the strike? No. Did they have a strike shortened season in 97? And that's why they couldn't. I think so. I can't remember if it was 94 or 97, but regardless, talk about a team that almost, if they would have won in 01, dude, oh my God, that's the one that really, it's the hardest one for me. And I know that
That's dumb.
if your player,
That's dumb. That hurt
I'll never
bad. I
forget
was
that, dude.
watching that. Oh my God.
Luis Gonzalez for the fucking Diamondbacks. Wasn't ever really much beyond that, and he had a 50 home run season, I think, once. But we're also talking about a team that's starting pitching staff led off with Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling in their prime. Yeah. And that one was tough because obviously 9/11.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was in Game 7. Mariano always came through in so many circumstances. You can't always get every single one of them. I get it, but 03 was tough. Not as tough, but it's like we lost to the Florida Marlins, who consisted of Josh Beckett and
Who?
Miguel Cabrera.
Oh,
I can't remember anybody else on that team. I can't.
no, those were the only two.
My aunt threw out the first pitch in one of those World Series games. My aunt Joni. No joke.
No way. That's awesome.
I wonder if she made it to
That's
a
kind
play.
of cool.
Man, then it's like 04. That one sucks because we don't go to the World Series, but we're up 3-0, and we're up big time in Boston. Why couldn't that stay that way? 06, we had a good team. Tigers were really good that year, though. 07, just kept coming up short, man. And then, like, 09, dude, they decided to bolster up. They go and get CC Sabathia, AJ Burnett, Mark Teixeira, Nick Swisher, I think Russell Martin, too. That 09 season was magical because that's the World Series win that I can remember, obviously, the most. Derek Jeter breaking the all-time Yankee hits record, the new stadium. It's the first time I ever been to a Yankees game was that year in Yankee Stadium, the new one. Pretty cool time. Pretty cool time to be a Yankee fan back then. And plus, dude, A-Rod was lights out in the playoffs that year. It wasn't until that year. Hideki Matsui, we saw the rise of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, like that dude, like people don't talk about World Series MVPs and like Hideki Matsui's performance that year as being one of the best, like overall, like MVP performances in World Series. But like, oh, I think back on other dynasties. The San Francisco Giants. Remember Tim Lincecum? How good he was in his like
It was a,
few year stretch.
he He was the man in San Francisco for 2010 to like 2014.
I forget what the dude's name was, but they had another pitcher that threw a perfect game. And not Madison Bumgarner, but it was a different guy. He got hurt. He had Tommy John surgery. But then Madison Bumgarner, one of the best playoff pitchers ever, in my opinion, because you're talking about a dude that would come in relief and then come out and start the next game, and like just you couldn't do it. You got John Lester. That's one of the better postseason pitchers of all time.
There you go. For the Red Sox.
And I don't like to talk about though. I'd like to talk about 16 with the Cubs. Man, crazy to think. All right, dude. Shohei Ohtani has been pitching a little bit as of lately. Dude's been throwing gas, Gage. At this point, it's like, what's the overall benefit to like trying to have him pitch and be a hitter? I mean, like, I'm not saying he can't do both exceptionally well, but like, you don't want to have him just pitching because you want him out there hitting and everything else he does. He can give you some relief, but like, it's not like it used to be where you don't have a designated hitter in the NL, and like, it'd be low key. That's when you'd be bolstered up. When you got your starting pitcher Shohei Ohtani and he's got a hit and he's batting first.
Can
you name two pitchers that have multiple home runs as a pitcher, but when they're up to bat?
I really don't see any benefit to having a starting pitcher batting first.
Well, here's the thing. Here's some starting pitchers that have multiple home runs in their career as a batter. Carlos Zambrano used to pitch for the Cubs. Madison Bumgarner has actually got multiple grand slams in his career. I think even in one. You also have, I think, Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got that. Now I feel like David Cone, a home run or something. Oh yeah, can we also talk about how the Yankees at one point had, David Cone, David Wells, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, El Duque, Roger Clemens. Yeah, dude, that was scary. Scary.
That was
very scary. Roger freaking Clemens, the Rocket.
The Rocket. Oh my Lord, what a rocket.
David Wells, I believe he threw his perfect game. He was hungover.
No shit.
Yeah, he's very hungover. And David Wells bought a Yankees hat off of auction that was game worn by Babe Ruth and wore it during a game. And I want to say paid the fine with pennies or something like that. And then proceeded to then sell the hat at auction for even more than he bought it for. It's pretty badass.
That is badass.
But for me, dude, the Yankees, man, it's like you can talk about all those guys, but Derek Jeter was that dude. Like, it's just like that was my first idol as a kid by far. Him, Jeremy McGrath, and Ricky Carmichael were my first idols as a kid.
We haven't talked about dirt biking.
Oh, dude.
You mentioned that Jeremy McGrath and Ricky Carmichael. Wow.
Don't forget good old Travis Pastrana.
Oh, yes,
you
of
want to
course.
take advice from a guy, ask Travis Pastrana. How do you have no fear? Oh, it gives you fear. You should do it. Because when you accomplish that fear, dude, it's a thrilling experience. It is. Sure is.
James Stewart.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched a couple of years ago, but James Stewart.
Okay. You got guys back in the day, like at the X Games, that Brian Deegan, Tommy the
Oh
Tank.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, I just Jeremy McGrath had that blue Yamaha dirt bike with I think it was the number. He had the number one on it, and I think he had the number two on it sometimes. And he had Ricky Carmichael with the green Kawasaki number four, dude. Had to be dope. But how about BMX bikers? Uh, Dave Mirra, rest in peace.
Dave Mira, rest in peace.
TJ Lavin, who I met as a kid, cool dude, very cool dude. Met Shaun White, skateboarder, snowboarder, one of the most decorated X Game athletes of all time. I think he is. Uh, Man, crazy to think. I used to really
Uh,
love extreme sports that much more. I did. Sure did.
there's one
All right,
more. There's one more. There's
let's
one
have,
more BMX biker that I know.
it's like, yeah, why am I blanking on it?
Who is it? Uh, Paul Rodriguez.
Maybe, but I don't know. I can't. It's like I'm blanking on it, dude. Um, Skateboarding, I was like, okay. I mean, everybody loved Tony Hawk, but like my thing was, I wasn't. I wanted to skate, but I wasn't as big into it. But dude, let's talk about NASCAR for a second.
You
Let's
know
talk
I'm into
about
that.
how different the sport is in today's day versus how it used to be. What's some of the main differences, Gage, in the cars that they use in today's, Cup Series races versus like what Jeff Gordon was driving in the 24 car in the mid 2000s?
Safety is the biggest thing. Safety.
Okay. So
Um,
speed,
Speed, yes. Speeds are down. I think from the early '90s to now.
so speed has gone down.
Oh yeah,
You know what? That's just like so wrong. It's like I feel like the object is to get faster. Ah,
it was back in the day. It was to get faster, but speed's gone down. Therefore, the safety has gone up.
okay. Let me ask you this: what's, if you can even think to it, the best race you ever watched ever?
Wow. 2003 Darlington. That close finish between Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch.
Oh, okay.
That was incredible. Side by side, the finish was, I think it was 1/1000th of a second
That's crazy.
between those two.
That's crazy. Let me ask you this: Gordon won at Vegas, didn't he?
Yes, he did a few
I
times.
believe I
Yes,
watched that race with my dad on TV when I was living in Vegas as a kid. But I gotta say, man, um, I feel like all the Daytonas in like late '90s, early 2000s, the Talladega races always. But you can go and watch it on YouTube. 2000 Talladega, Dale Earnhardt. I wasn't an Earnhardt guy as a kid. In fact, I was Gordon all the way. I mean, I still am. But dude, it's like if you don't have love or respect for Dale Earnhardt for like what he really was to the sport of NASCAR, like dude, you just don't really. It's like loving the game of basketball, but saying that you hate Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You can't say that. So Earnhardt,
Earnhardt 2000 at Talladega, 18th the first.
crazy.
Well,
It's just like I would really love to
wow.
see a prime Gordon, Richard Petty, Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson, you have to put him in there. Let's throw Tony Stewart in there too, 4-time champ, I believe.
3.
You can put Mark Martin in there too.
Oh, of course.
And honestly, just like put and just take those prime racers and put them in a race and see who comes out on top. Just curious. I really wonder.
That's a good challenge. I
My thing
would
is,
love to watch that.
I think it's all going to be about. It really is going to depend. You know, what I mean, like if Gordon gets out there and he's in control, he's got a good chance. Richard Petty's got the most experience. He's the king of NASCAR. I mean, he's the original. But it's like my money would probably be on Earnhardt to do it because
Wreck 'em all.
that guy was Ricky Bobby, but in a non-comedic way.
Oh, Ricky Bobby, of course. Of course, you got to put him in there.
Cal Naughton Jr. You know
Hell,
what's the
yeah.
one that's the funny cars and drag races guy? He's a old dude. He's been doing it forever.
John
He's
Force.
who? What?
John Force.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Let me think of something else as far as extreme sports here for a second. Um, man, crazy to think, dude. Dirt bikers and shit like that. It's just
Extreme sports. Hmm.
fun stuff, dude. It really is. I mean, I love BMX biking, dirt biking, and all that shit. In fact, I'll tell you right now, first time I faced my fear and actually went off a jump on my dirt bike, you couldn't get me to not go off the jump anymore. I had to always.
Oh, hell yeah.
Um,
Hell yeah, of course.
you do. You want to talk about the game of dirt biking is funny because you had Supercross, which is racing, and then you had Travis Pastrana in freestyle, which was tricks. I mean, in one respect, you got guys that are dominating Supercross races, and that's no day at the beach either. That's not easy work. But then you got a guy inventing the double backflip. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy thing, man. In sports and all that stuff, it just ain't what it once was, man. But I'll tell you, if you could get fucking, I want to see some professional dodgeball leagues come out of out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? I really would love to see it. I would participate. Um,
On
Dodge a
ESPN 8.
dodge a ball. You know what I'm saying? All right, Gage. Here, hit me with one more topic because we are just now over the hour mark and my phone's going to die. And I'm gonna
Hmm.
be done with this for now. But give me another topic you want a reaction to, whether you want wholesome, funny, hyped up, something. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Uh, the Lakers being sold. What do you think about that?
Say that again.
The Lakers being sold.
I
What do you
mean,
think about that?
the Lakers ain't what the Lakers once were. They haven't been winning championships consistently since the days of Jerry Buss. I mean, $10 billion. It ain't like you're gonna be missing out on much. Um, it's probably a fucking headache. It's also, dude, like we're talking. I think maybe 10 years ago, the Lakers were probably valued at like maybe $5 billion, and it's like $10 billion. Holy shit! Um, I didn't even see who bought the Lakers. That's what I don't know is who bought the Lakers.
I didn't see that either. Let me look that.
NBA isn't what it once was. You know, it's not Celtics, Lakers, and Bulls, and a couple other select teams. I mean, you got the OKC just winning their first championship this year, and if it wasn't them, it would have been the Pacers winning their first. You got the Mavericks getting there last year. The Celtics. It's just NBA is It's much more balanced out than it was back in like 2016 when we knew it was gonna be the Warriors and the Cavs. But at the same time, it ain't. Yeah, the sport ain't the same for me in a sense. Crazy to think though, Lakers got sold. I wonder what Kobe Bryant would be thinking from heaven. You know what I'm saying? Did I lose you, Gage? Okay, I think I lost Gage. All right, guys. Happy 4th of July. Maybe you guys will catch me on here again soon. Peace out.